In this video, I'm going to talk to you about AI integration for your business. If you own a business, you are probably being overwhelmed by people contacting you about all sorts of AI to use in your business. There are a ton of subscriptions now, and I think if you're tinkering with it, you may have liked some of it and hated some of it, and it's important to start with the right foundation. Now, my name's Colette Kemp, and I used to own an engineering business where we had about 50 employees, and we'd have 25 to 30 subcontractors at any one time. And I feel that I am qualified to talk to you about this because when I had that business, I co-founded it, and it was very traditional. We had clipboards, paper, files, just all the things that you would imagine when you start a business. You start a business when you still own a BlackBerry. And we just after a few years after starting the business, the great financial crisis came, and I had to figure out how to cut costs, get things really streamlined, because I had to keep my field people in place so that we could do the work, but I really had to cut overhead because our sales were decreased because everybody was hurting, right? So during that time, I learned about virtual bookkeepers, virtual assistants. The bookkeeper used to remote into my PC, and that was instead of the bookkeeper coming into the office, which is what I had done previously. So it was a fraction of the cost. And once I started to learn about these practices, they also were more convenient because I didn't have to spend my time with these people. Whenever you have a bookkeeper come in, or you have admins, or you have people answering the phones, you are there, you're managing them. But I found when I used these newer type of services, it also freed up a lot of my time. So fast forward through the years with that business, as the business grew, I just kept on implementing technology. I added iPads, we went in the cloud, we went paperless, and I never came back from it. So AI has been a very easy transition for me, and in my own work and business, I've been using it since December 2022, and I'm now working to help business owners like you to understand it, understand where you need it, where you don't need it, and to also make a plan to integrate it in a way that works. Okay, so the first thing that you're going to want to do before you start tinkering about with AI or adding it to your business is looking at your business as a whole. So I've got 3 steps in this process. It's going to be review, map, and build. So in reviewing, you will want to sit down and it's not going to be much fun, but you're going to want to spreadsheet your business. So you, the owner, grab your business partners or partner, grab your office manager, grab your general manager, your admin assistant, somebody that you can work with to collaborate, because you're going to want to pull up a spreadsheet, or a notepad is fine, and you're going to want to document all of your departments, what those departments do, who has a process in place, which people are working in those departments, who's overwhelmed, and just have almost like a mind map of a snapshot of what's in your brain, what you know about the business. And it can just be some very simple notes, okay? That's the first place to start, is to get a visual of what the actual, maybe you have an org chart as well. You could even grab that and start with that. A lot of businesses do or don't, but this is specifically for you if you have, let's say, 11 to 50 employees. This is the size of business that this type of process will work for. So review the business, see where you're at, think about how it functions, and document that. Now, from there, you're going to want to map out, first of all, what type of AI have you heard of, and what do you already know about? So you can, maybe open another tab on the spreadsheet, and you can start thinking about that, things that you've used, things you like, things that you don't like. Where do you want to start? So you're going to want to start with one area of your business and get that automated and running well. I wouldn't try to do more than one at a time, and I wouldn't start with client-facing areas of your business. So I wouldn't start with a voice agent answering the phones unless you have a business where you're very comfortable. Maybe you already have an answer service. That would be slightly different. But for a lot of businesses, I spoke to somebody the other day and he did have a voice agent. He had a digital receptionist and he stopped it. He didn't like it. So for him, I think working with some other tools first, and then he'll be used to somebody building digital workers for him. So these are agents, right? And then once he's used to that, I think when he does work with somebody to build out the virtual receptionist, they can do it in a much more detailed way, because it's really going to be, these tools are only going to be as good as you build them, and they're only going to be as good as the information that you provide to them. Just like when you hire somebody, right? When you hire a new employee, if you onboard them well, if you hire them correctly to start with, make sure that they have the right skills and the right personality fit for that role. And then if you onboard them well and train them well, the output is going to be better. But if you bring them on and you just tell them, okay, great, here's your first day, watch this safety video and away you go, and they start making mistakes in week 1, week 2, week 3, well, you didn't give them any training. So this is going to be the same with AI agents, but the training for the agent is going to come on the build. As we build them, we're going to give the agent all the information it needs to know what to do when something happens, what to do when they get stuck. So that's something that this is going to take some work to set up, but then once it's set up, you'll have things automated and you don't have to worry about it. So for me, one of the things that I set up was in my email, I set up a workflow, which is basically a system, right? I set up a workflow where my emails can be sent to me twice a day, summarized in one email, so I can read all the emails. And then the draft responses to every email that came through will be in my drafts tab. So I can go in and I can edit those and I can send them if I want to. Now you could set up that workflow to have an additional step where the AI assistant sends out the emails, but I think that would be a really bad idea. We're not there yet. So I have a guardrail in place where it's not allowed to do that. It has to just create a draft for me. So that's kind of what I'm talking about in designing the system. It's just the same as if you were designing a regular process in your business. There's a way that you have the phones answered. There's a way that you fill medication. There's a way that you document PTO and sick time. There's a way that you hire people. You have a process for it. You review a resume. You have an interview. You do reference checks. You do a background check. They fill out an application. You have all of these steps, and then you set the employee file up. So sorry if that's a little bit detailed, but once you start thinking about AI, think about AI automation the same way you run your business. So you've got your review, we're talking about mapping now, mapping out what you want to get done. So I think look at the areas of your business that are in demand. So hiring, if you have a business between 11 and 50 employees, you should be hiring all the time. Many businesses only hire when they need somebody, and then they're hiring in a rush, and then they usually make a bad hire. So hiring is something that would be a great place to start automating, right? You could have a hiring assistant just working in the background all the time, qualifying people, only bringing you people that are qualified for positions that you will potentially have to fill in the future as you grow. Marketing is also relatively safe because things can be scheduled, things can be deleted, and there's a lag with marketing in that it takes time for it to get in front of people. Outbound sales, tough, right? Because they can make outbound calls for you, but we're probably not comfortable with that just yet in this stage of just getting started with building out our AI agents and our digital workers. So that's how I would recommend that you review it. I would be mindful of just testing things. I would test things to get comfortable. And like I say, you're probably using QuickBooks. QuickBooks has AI. Maybe you can add on a little bit more AI than you normally would use. Each industry has platforms that they're now using that are becoming quite common practice. And so let's say, for example, I know, like for business brokers help people to sell their businesses, and there's something called deal management. So once the broker has a business listed, there's all this paperwork that has to be done and all these processes, and there are subscription models that manage that whole process, so they can do everything inside of it. They don't have to build it out themselves, and it's secure. But you still have all these other pieces of your business where you need to build. They can integrate with that. But just as you would have your receptionist deals with your project manager, right? They answer the phones, they take the message, they send the message, they make sure that the project manager got the message, they make sure that the customer received a call back. It's the exact same thing. So that's probably going to be the easiest way for you to look at the functionality of an AI agent. All right, so we've done reviewing and mapping in some detail. And now we're going to build them. So once you've picked where you want to start, you'll want to work with somebody to build your AI agent for you. And there are lots of great developers out there that can do that for you. It's going to probably cost you a little more upfront to build an AI agent than it is to sign up for a subscription platform. And I'll put some links to some different options so that you can see some things in this video. But I would recommend building for the most part, because you will own that agent. It will be part of your business. The subscription model is good for you getting your feet wet, but remember, your data is in somebody else's platform. So to me, that's just like subcontracting versus hiring your own employee. And it's just going to be what you're more comfortable with. Some businesses operate with a lot of subcontractors. I know of somebody that his whole business, it runs with subcontractors. I personally would want employees because it gives me more quality control of output. We can set the culture, we can determine, we have a lot more control over the customer experience. So those are some other things for you to consider. So once you start building, now you have to train. So building and then, training your team, making sure your team understand how to utilize these AI assistants and making sure that they are fully utilized, because these lovely little worker bees are going to be working 24/7. So I use ChatGPT has an agent now, ChatGPT 5. So yesterday, before I wanted a task done, and before I logged off, I set the task on my computer. I'm on my computer right now. And then I shut down my computer and I have it synced to my phone. So I went off and I did something else, and then I was able to check my phone later, and when the task was finished, it delivered it to me. So that is something that's really beneficial. I used to like working with virtual assistants for that reason, because typically mine were in the Philippines, so they worked overnight. So we would be able to get a lot more work done in 24 hours than a regular business that was having people only come in between 9 and 5. So think about that, right? If your customers are global, this is a way for them to receive, if they want to inquire at 11 o'clock at night, they will still get a response. They can still book an appointment. They can still ask questions if you have a chatbot, or when you get comfortable and you do have a voice agent or a virtual receptionist. I mean, it opens up the possibilities for how you can serve people, and it kind of takes us out of this Monday through Friday constraint. And a lot of younger people want to book things online. They want to work digitally. So as Gen Z is up and coming, becoming a consumer now, instead of just these are our kids, they actually want to interact this way. So that's something else to bear in mind. So training, I think that you will find that your employees will be really excited about this, because something that we've never had before is you can have, let's say, support staff, right, who are usually doing everything for the front of house people, meaning just for a service business, for example, your project managers, your technicians, and typically those support staff have never really had assistants because it's not in the budget. So they're usually really busy. Well, now these people can have, for very little money, they can have assistants, and they can do a lot more work. They can check on all the things that they were supposed to be checking on, that they keep running out of time because they're so busy. So I think that's pretty exciting. But you will have to train, for example, you will have to train your support staff how to delegate, because they're used to being delegated to. So there's going to be lots of mind shifting that's happening, as we are adding these digital workers. It's going to be pretty interesting to see. So if you have any experience of that, you can certainly leave some comments on this video so that we can share with people watching and hear from you as to what it's been like for you. Now, the final thing that I wanted to talk to you about, which I think is kind of the creme de la creme of what we can do for small businesses. So I've created a service called Knowledge Hub AI. And what that is it's going to be for your entire business. So this is fully customizable, and there are subscriptions for this, but building this yourself is going to be so much better. And the reason is that, like I said, you will own it, but Knowledge Hub AI, this would be once you have other things set up, or you could just do this as a standalone digital assistant AI that you have in your company. But this is going to be where we put every process, every procedure, every how-to, every safety item, every to-do, every bit of knowledge from the owner's head, all the project manager's knowledge, let's just say if you have really highly skilled salespeople or marketers, we get all the knowledge from all the brains of all the people in the organization, bookkeepers, people in purchasing. I mean, purchasing is a highly skilled, profession, because there's a lot to purchasing, right? They have to know how to negotiate discounts, how to buy in bulk, how to renegotiate with their vendors every year to make sure they're getting the best price. They need to know how to shop new vendors. If you're in retail, I mean, that's a whole other skill set, purchasing, right? Because you're actually going and purchasing for the season. So having all of the knowledge from all of the people in Knowledge Hub AI is going to give you somewhere that's in everybody's pocket or on everybody's computer that they can go and ask a question, and they don't have to go find the project manager, they don't have to go find the person in purchasing, they don't have to find you, the owner. And one of the things I will say to you that in recent years I've been consulting, right? So I've worked with lots of different types of business owners, helping them to sell their business, sometimes not sell their business because they wanted more money than the valuation came out at, so they chose not to sell, or not to sell with me because they wanted more money for the business. But what I've seen, the reason I'm telling you that is what I've seen is businesses that are not owner dependent and not even employee dependent, like key man dependent, key person dependent, are worth more. And the reason for that is when somebody, let's just say if you get ready to retire, right, and you decide that you want to sell your business, a buyer is going to come in. First of all, they're going to look at you, at what you do, and then they're going to look at the people around you. And they will get very nervous if too much knowledge is in one person's head, because that is risky. That person could not like the new owner. That person could get hit by a bus. That person could just decide to leave, and when they leave, they take all that knowledge with them. So one of the things that should be a big ticket item that you do at some point with your business is build out a Knowledge Hub AI. I mean, it's amazing now that you can have this. Essentially, this is what ChatGPT is, right? It's a language learning model. So you can program a similar type of agent, AI, or product to have as part of your business, and it will be the brain and hub for your business, okay, where anybody can ask a question and anything can be done. And I think the other thing that you'll want to think about as you start this process of implementing AI is just know that you will want to review, I would say monthly, just to make sure that things are kept updated as policies change. But you know what, you can probably even figure out, there's probably even a way that we can create a system where you, as a change comes in, we feed it. You know, it happens. There's a way that we can get it to Knowledge Hub so that it's updated. I hope this is helpful. It's a lot of information, and I'm bringing it to you in a conversational way because I feel that we need to bridge the gap between the businesses and the AI. So I am working with some developers, and the one thing I've noticed, these people are super talented, but they don't necessarily understand the business owner's mindset. So somebody did create a virtual receptionist, and it was good, but it wasn't great. And I was trying to explain to the developer that, the demo that we present to a business owner to convince them to put this in their business needs to be really, really, really good. And the developer said, don't worry, we can engineer it to be as good as you want. But I know for you as a business owner, you need to see that before you sign up for it. So my goal in my business is to bridge that gap between the technology and the human beings running the business, and then the business itself, because I understand the business. I understand how they run. I understand where their shortcomings are. I understand how they can be improved. And I also appreciate all the hard work that everybody's put into getting a business to 11 to 50 employees. That's not easy. For you, the business owner, I understand enough about the technology side just because I've been running a technology first business since 2009, and now we're moving into a landscape where we have AI first companies and traditional companies. So I want to also bridge the gap and help you to make your company an AI first company. But that's nothing scary and horrible. All that is saying that in the let's just say pre-ChatGPT, right? Pre-AI. AI's been around since before then, but pre-ChatGPT, we had traditional businesses, and now we have AI first businesses. So it's kind of like before the internet and after the internet. And a traditional business is people managing people. An AI first business is going to be people managing AI, managing agents, managing technology, managing digital workers. So I hope that's helpful, and please reach out to me if you have any questions at all. If you're a business owner, I'd be happy to help you. There'll be a link below in the video for you can book a call with me if you want to talk to me, and I do offer consulting. I do offer I'll do the review with you. I'll help you map out the processes, and I will help you build the AI assistants, and I'll help you integrate as well. And I think one of the things that, there's my phone. One of the things that I hope will be helpful for you, and this is not a sales pitch, I just want you to know the purpose of everything of this video. One of the things I think will be helpful to you is that if you do want to build and have your own AI inside in your business, I can help you to project manage that. It's much easier when somebody does understand the technology, and again, the developers, they're fantastic. I mean, there's geniuses out there doing this work, but sometimes we're speaking different language. So hope that's helpful, and good luck to you, and it should also be a little bit fun, but one step at a time.